Okay, removing the front brake caliper is a pretty simple process. Remove the wheel, remove the brake line fitting for the metal brake, or the copper brake line fitting, and then remove the two 5/8 bolts in the back. One, and make sure you support the caliper, because after you remove the second one, it's gonna want to fall. Okay, then the caliper comes off. Piece of cake. Okay, dismantling the brake caliper is a pretty easy process. Basically take out these two cotter pins at the back. Then these pins pop out through. And then the actual brake pads fall through. Now the reason I'm taking this apart is that I never had any shims installed in there, so these are to prevent squealing when you depress the brake pedal. So I'm going to install these, and they go right behind the pad but in front of the piston. So in between the piston and the pad, these go, and I'm going to put a small amount of brake grease on the back of these and on the front of these, so that it has some type of has a little bit of lubrication in there. Now let me see. These pads do have a backing to them, so, but I did find that they were squealing a bit, so we're going to go ahead and put these shims on and see if that solves the problem. Okay, just a little bit of brake grease. You don't want to put too much, because if it gets too hot and leaks out, then obviously it might splatter around and get on the brake surface, which you don't want. There we go. Now, inside the caliper, the pin goes in. Then it attaches goes through these plates and then through one of the pads. I'm going to touch the surface of the pad with my gunky hand, so try not to do that. And then the next pad, pin through. There we go. And then the last shim. And we put that in place. Come on. There we go. Now I'll put a little bit on these pins, on the pinholes. And then press them all the way through. There we go. Now I just put the cotter pins back in. One and two. Now you're done. Now you just have to slide that back on. Those shims shouldn't create too much of a space problem to fit over the rotor, so I should be able to put those back on. Hopefully I won't have to pry or push the pistons back in. Should hopefully fit. Okay, putting the caliper back on is a pretty simple process, although sometimes it seems like it requires a couple hands because you have these a couple of plates back here you have to attach with it. There's the plate that holds the flexi line stable, and then there's also a backing plate that goes on the outside of that, and then the bolts go through everything. So just put that back together and then tighten it up. And then put your brake line back on, the hard brake line that you took off, and then you're done.